Hey everyone, it's Rob Golfi here with REMAX, the Golfi team, and we got Conrad Zurini, broker, owner, REMAX, Escarpment REMAX Niagara, one of the largest brokerages in Southern Ontario, and we got Brian Hogben, one of the largest mortgage brokers in Southern Ontario, maybe in Ontario, and Mission 35 Mortgages. If he beats the banks, and I'm not sure if he's had any lawsuits yet. No, I'm just kidding. He does beat the banks on mortgage rates. You just got to give him a call. That's it.
He
That's
beats them
it.
up.
That's it. But guys, you know what? A couple things I want to talk about is Conrad. You know, stats wise, I'll tell you, even other realtors from different companies follow your stats. They know it. And there's nobody in our real estate board or even the Hamilton, Niagara, Halton area knows the stats better than you do. You also know the Toronto stats even better than Toronto brokers, which I love.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So that's awesome that you have that. Now, you were telling us that listings, new listings, we're not talking about relist and stuff like that. Am I correct?
Yeah, you're not. Nope.
New listings versus sales, we've outpaced that since. Go ahead, tell the story, buddy.
We probably outpaced it for the last 2 months. Well, we outpaced the market for the last year. There's without a doubt, and even before that. So that's how you gauge the market. So if there are, let's say if there's 50 sales and 100 new listings, that's balanced, like 50%. And if there's 60 or more sales compared to 100 new listings, now we're talking seller's market. And then if it's below the 50, 30 or 40 sales to the amount of new listings, then you've got more of a buyer's market. So there's less, it's a supply and demand issue, right? Obviously. But what's interesting is we have a lot of inventory. And if you think of 60-day and 90-day inventory, I think consumers have figured it out. And I think it's beholden upon us to tell our listers, our sellers rather, that guys, your 90-day inventory, if you're on the market 60 days, it doesn't exist. All the stuff that is selling is the stuff really, the new stuff that's coming on, because people kind of, discount that thing. Right now, 60% inventory, 60 days on the market, is 60% of the inventory.
Wow.
90-day, it's 40% of the inventory. So 40% of that inventory is completely discounted when it's 90 days. So now let's talk about what's going on. So we're seeing that the consumer is feeling it. The old stuff is old, tired, overpriced. The new stuff coming on is more precision priced, and people are going at it. So we hit months after month of higher than the amount of listings. And what else is interesting is August is the month where the most amount of times that this occurs, where sales overshadow new listing inventory, and we've done it remarkably. And I think this week was we're at 114%. One week we had 134%.
Wow.
Now take that data and apply it to back how many years ago, and we found August of 2020, our sales numbers in August 2020 are the same as they are today. And we all know what happened after August 2020, and it was a similar thing. Delay in the market, because we had a shutdown, a physical shutdown. We had a shutdown because it was between people's ears. So this year we had a shutdown of people saying, you know what, I'm going to wait for the market listings. I'm going to wait for mortgage rates, and they shut it down. Last time it was physically shut down, but August, you line it up in our August of 2020 and August of 2025, same kind of sales data and even appointments, and the sales overshadowing listings.
So basically August 2020, March was COVID. Everybody was sent home to work. And then whatever sales were left for March continued. And then April did a huge nosedive. And then it slowly came back. And then August was one of the bigger months that year, COVID year of sales that year. I think by August, I think everybody was essential.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, no matter what.
Everybody's
Yes,
essential.
I remember
The
that.
dog walkers were essential.
An essential
Yes.
service as a mortgage
Yeah.
broker,
Yeah.
right?
The mortgage guys are essential.
Yeah.
The oh yeah. Everybody, teachers, everybody were essential. Everybody was.
Let me ask you
teachers
guys
loved
that.
it.
So if half the inventory right now is 60 to 90 days, like who are these people selling then? Do they need to sell, want to sell? Because it almost sounds like the financial hardship probably isn't there as much as we think. If you can manage a listing for 90 days that's not selling, do you need to sell?
The financial hardships happening as we're speaking at the 30 days, the 60 days, the 90 days. They're hanging on. They're praying. They're hoping that somebody's going to come along and get them their price. It's not going to happen. They have to adjust to what the market price is today. And those people, sometimes during those 90 days that they're still in the market, maybe mommy and daddy will say, okay, listen, you know what, you can't go any lower. So here's some money. We'll float you for we'll float you for 6 more months. But then after that, we can't do it anymore.
They're not locking in the loss essentially, right? Because they may be underwater. But
they're like a lot of them aren't underwater. They got no choice. Like and it's costing them money to carry that house that they have, and that's why they need to get out and either change, go to rent or downsize or whatever. But a lot of people are under a lot of stress, and the ones that have sold are still on the market 60, 90 days. They're the most stressful ones in most cases, or they're just hanging on to the price and they don't realize 2021 and partially of 2022 is way, it's 3.5, 4 years behind us, and they should not. I don't think they should even look at those prices.
And we are partially to blame as an industry because we're always saying, well, the rates are going to get dropped. It's going to be the floodgates. So every time this, guys get on on something like this and say all that stuff and get their clients all ready, and they say, hey, it's around the corner. I'll wait and wait and wait. You know what I mean? And my time will solve all my problems, but it really won't, because we're seeing more static growth, incremental growth. We're not going to, people are making decisions. Look, I don't believe it's the rates at all that fuel this thing, and people would disagree with me. It's your own human situation, what's going on in your own life, where you can't take it anymore. And it's renewals. Like I was just, with Rob's team the other day, and we were talking the amount of renewals that are spurring what's going on today. Because you got to remember, everybody all bought in 2020. They probably bought June, closed in September, closed in August. There's a lot of renewals. And what happens when the renewal, they think either do I renew, do I refinance, or do I go shopping? Right, Brian? You know it. Yeah, and that's really what's fueled this whole sales
it's interesting
market.
Too. Like people's perception is still misled, because the renewal conversation, I just spoke to a lady yesterday, had her mortgage coming up for renewal. She was in the 1.99 range for 5 years. Now she's renewing at, in the 4s for a 5-year fix, has a little bit of debt. Her mortgage payment, she was terrified as to what her mortgage payment was go up to. Yeah. But then when I talked to her, I said, well, we can put it over 30 years. She was at a 25, go back to 30, not the end of the world, right? And you should hear the relief in her voice. She was like, oh my God, I was terrified. And it's like, I think there's some, I know some people are in a lot of situations there, but there's a lot of fear that people just haven't run the numbers yet as well too. Yeah. To look at.
Because the media said, there's going to be a tsunami of people can't afford to pay their mortgages anymore. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, right now, I'm telling people, and let me know if this is right. If you can get 4% right now, 5-year right now, what is it, Brian?
You're over the best 4. Rate? Well, there's actually, there's
4.25.
There's a rate special right now, 369 for a 3-year. Like if you're purchasing a house, 369 on a 3-year.
Insured,
correct,
right?
Yeah.
Insured.
If you're purchasing a house. So if it's a renewal right now, you're probably looking at, with most banks, 4.25, 4.5 on a 5-year fix. And the variable rate.
Actually, that's not bad.
No,
that's not bad. Now,
I know.
Now, what do you think of the 3-year rate at 369? That could be dangerous, eh?
This is what we tell our clients on that. Listen, like 3 years is great, but it depends on what your goals are, right? Like if you got a young family and someone's going off on mat leave in 2 years or 3 years, that's a terrible risk that you're going to have in 3 years, because I don't know what rates are going to be in 3 years. So if you have a young family, maybe it's better to take the 5-year, lock in your security,
Yeah.
so then you know what your payments are going to be. If you're a dink, double income, no kids, I love that acronym.
Go for
Right?
it.
Then, hey man, take the 3-year, go for it. Right?
Take the risk. Yeah, I would definitely lock in at the 5-year, and that's still a good interest rate at 4.25%, even 4.5%.
I just think that people listen. I think mortgage brokers we were so to Conrad's point there. We were so gung ho on variable for so long in the mortgage broker world, because variable, there was probably one line in a textbook that said you can say variable and it's always better, because it always had been, right? For as long as people are in the industry. And I think now you've got two sides of the coin, where you've got mortgage brokers and bankers saying variable's going to be great. Is it? It might be. But I think, the 5-year fix, I think people are more leaning towards the security side too. So you still have the two different sides, but you really gotta, I'm personally, I like the security, but as long as it's in alignment with your goals. Because I think the downside, I think the upside risk is way bigger than the downside.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
Yeah. And it's marginal. Like what, that quarter point, what's peace of mind? I can set it and forget it. Focus on other things, right? That are happening in your life, or maybe look at an investment property or something down the road, that kind of thing. Just set it and forget it, and not have to worry about it, and move along.
Well, it's
right?
funny because we're all acting like we're developers, like Conrad with $200 million, and a quarter point makes,
Oh yeah, that's
right. That's a big difference on $200 million.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. Conrad did say he
400,000.
missed it by a day. He missed it by a day.
So
so you know what the other big thing is about this interest rate? People like to brag what their interest rate is.
For sure.
Hey, it's like, hey, I got 3.69. What did you get, Sparky? You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
but we can tell everybody when they say they got 3.69, you say, oh, you're insured, eh?
Yeah.
You're not conventional, eh? You got that kind of debt, eh?
Oh yeah. So you got a big, you're
Well,
exactly. I gotta use that line. It's like using the same line. If a doctor out there is acting like he's a big shot, this and that, and I go like this. How do you live on that income?
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. You just want to jab one at him. That's it. So quickly, there was an article in the paper. It says escape clauses, creative conditions. Real estate agents are changing the game plan and hesitant in market. Now we know that in this market, unless you really know what your house value is in today's market, and actually it changed a little bit over the summer. It changed. So you got to be very careful. Now, people going in firm, it's a big risk. People are accepting offers on conditional sale of another house. And you better be able to go in, if you're going in firm on a deal and still have to sell your house, you better know that you can afford it. Now, Conrad, like with REMAX Escarpment and Niagara, you've got a clause.
Yeah, we've developed lots of clauses. Well, especially like if you're a seller and you get one of these offers, and the buyer agent says, "Oh, this house is really sellable," blah blah blah. We have one that's a condition for the seller to make sure that the house gets listed within 5 days. At what price? And you hold them to a price not more than $900,000, and you put in these requirements, and then it's going to make the other side think, because how many times, and too, Rob, this guy comes in and says, yeah, we're going to be the cheapest on the market. Then when they go to put it up for sale, they go like over the $1 million, and then it blows in the wind and you're stuck. So that's one thing. You got to make sure that house is sellable, right? So you got to get your agent to do the homework. The other thing is, if they do get, if another offer comes in and they have 48 hours to make a decision to either firm up or walk away, we always say protect the seller. Show me that you have the wherewithal to be able to close on 2 properties and hold 2 properties. Most people think that they can do interim financing without their home being sold, and it's still a thing that's out there. So those are the kind of things. And the other one is and I'll tell you something, this opens up a big thing too. It's seniors or certain empty nesters that there's only one particular house they like, and we call it the bump. And what happens is there's only one house I really like. I'm putting an offer conditional on my sale of my house on that. And I get an offer that's conditional on them selling their house. If I get notified by this dream house that I want, that I have that another offer's come in and I have to make a decision, I want to be able to go to the guy that bought my house and said, listen, I don't have a bona fide offer, but I'm getting bumped on my buy. That's my dream. And if I don't buy that house, I ain't selling mine. Do you know when the people got stuck? That what happened was they ended up they lost the house.
And they ended up selling theirs. Yeah.
And they're homeless.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then they got to jam themselves into something they don't like. So again, yes, you got to be creative, but you got to really know your shit. And you got to get an agent that knows their stuff too.
You know what? That does happen. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. They're homeless and they're like, and now they're going, what the heck just happened to me right here?
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Their agent didn't protect them.
And on those ones too, when you're going in on that no conditional on the backup sale, make sure that mortgage broker's running reduced numbers, because I've seen it where they went to another mortgage brokerage and they said, we ran the numbers, it's selling our house for $650 or $700, and they said it was fine. Well, did they run the numbers selling at 600 or 620
or 550 or 550? Because that's what usually happens.
You know,
Yeah.
You get a lower rate now, but you know.
Oh my God!
But
you know what?
But it changes dramatically, right? So you got to run all those scenarios. Like it's
so you know what? Scenario. I'll tell you that situation happens more than you think, and where people end up without a house because. Again, there's a chain reaction of all sale of properties on like 3-4 in a row. And
somebody's in a condo building. If somebody's in a condo building and somebody gets, you know what, I got to get out of here. I've been taking a loss, month after month. They drop their price. Well, then if I'm selling my condo. Well, then if that guy dropped 5%, I'm going to drop 5%. Yeah. Right. So then I'm really in trouble. So to your point, you got to run those numbers at every worst case scenario you can possibly imagine.
Absolutely. And sometimes people, they don't realize, you're right. They get stuck with nothing after because they can't afford it for what they sold for their house for. That's crazy. Guys, I appreciate your time and thanks for enlightening us on the market and telling us about these clause situations that people could get stuck in. So we'll get the calls coming in and say, we want those creative conditions in there to protect ourselves.
Exactly.
Guys, anyway, listen, I appreciate it. Have a great week, and we'll catch you next week on what's happening in real estate this week.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks.
Thanks, Brian.